Oh, hello, Sober and Purpose. I am delighted to bring you another guest. And what caught me first about her was her movement title is Own Your Own Amazing. Isn't that awesome? So, and dealing with a lot of female clients, one of the things they're struggling with is their identity, not even owning their own amazing. So that's what we're going to talk about today with Dr. Denise Moore Revel. She is the CEO and founder of an award-winning best-selling author, speaker, personal development coach, and a speech language pathologist. Maybe I need your help too. And all of that. Now, her main purpose is to empower women in finding their unique voice and living out loud and then creating that life they love. And that's one of the main things we're going to talk about is how to own your own voice. So, Dr. Denise, welcome. Thank you for being here. Can we start with just how you came up with Own Your Own Amazing? What a wonderful title to wake up to every day.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here, excited about this conversation we're about to have. So, Own Your Amazing came about because of my own personal journey. I had been searching, I tell people I look good on paper, but on the inside, I wasn't feeling too good about myself, right?
Mm.
And so I was on this quest to really discover who I was. And so I was attending webinars, reading self-help books, all those good things, but was not really finding it. And so about 7 years ago, I attended a weekend retreat. And so I arrived on that Friday evening to Texas. I think it was Dallas. And I went out to dinner with one of the attendees. We were just getting to know one another, just had a really good time. So on that Saturday, for the retreat, the facilitator of the retreat had everyone to come to the front of the room to get poured into, to get loved on, she said, right? And so as I'm sitting in the audience waiting for my turn to go up front, I noticed a lot of the women were very emotional. They were crying, just very emotional. And I'm kind of sitting there thinking, like, what is going on with these people? Okay, whatever. So now it's my turn. She calls me to the front of the room, and I tell you, as soon as I sat down in the chair, I started crying.
Oh.
I was just boo-hooing, the ugly cry. And so the coach, the facility, she's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me." I said, "I should be happy. I have a great job, I have a great family, I have a lot of things going on, but I'm just not happy and I can't figure out what's going on with me." And so the young lady who I had gone out to dinner with the night before, she raised her hand and said, "I know what's going on with you."
Wow.
Yeah, but I was thinking like, "You don't know me. We just met, how are you gonna tell me what's going on with me? I've been on this journey for years." I didn't say any of that. I just looked at her and said, "Okay, what's going on with me?" And she said, "Well, I just met you last night. We had a great conversation." She said, "But I noticed that," she said, "you're smart, you're brilliant, you're very talented." She said, "But you don't own it." She said, "You need to own your amazing and stop playing small." And when I tell you, I was like, that's it. People in the room was like, "Oh my God, I just got chill bumps." It was just visceral. It
Mm-hmm.
landed and resonated with me and so many women in the room. And since that day, that's the day she helped me to give voice to what I knew for sure, that I was playing small. I was not owning who I was. I was not owning that I am this amazing being. And so that was the day I decided that I was going to help other women like me to
Mm-hmm.
own their amazing. And so that's how it got started. This person helped me to language, to give me the words, to give me the voice to what I knew for sure.
That's awesome. So she
Yes,
helped a speech pathologist put
yes,
language to her life.
yes, absolutely.
What a
Absolutely.
twist of fate. What a twist of
Yes.
fate there. Now, how did you take that? We all go to these weekend retreats. We have a great time. It's really opening, but we come home sometimes and we're like, well, how do I even implement that? So, how did you
Right.
take the next step?
The next step was as soon as I got back to my room, I called my family. I called my sisters and I was like, "You guys, this is it. I find," they was like, "Yeah." And so literally my first workshop was with my family. It's like, we need to own it because I know so many amazing, brilliant people, not just my family, but friends and coworkers and women who are powerful, but they don't
Mhm.
own it.
Mhm.
We've been taught to be quiet, to dumb down, to stay in your place. We've lost our voice. And so I have been on a mission. This is my mission. It's a movement to help people to really claim their lives, to live out loud, whatever that looks like for you. And so that was my first step. And again, 7 years ago, since then, I've been doing workshops and I wrote the book. I've done all these kind of things just to get the message out for women, particularly. I have some men who are part of the movement, but particularly women, to
Right.
really own their amazing.
Can I dig just a little bit deeper? The one
Yeah.
thing that you said really struck me is I look good on paper. I mean, you are Dr. Denise. You didn't just, work at some ordinary job. You're a speech pathologist. You've been doing that. You're highly successful in all those things. You went there going, I have a good life. I have a good family. I have all this. So looking good on paper, does that hinder us or help us to own our voice?
I think a lot of times it hinders us because a lot of women like myself, again, we look good on paper. We look to everybody else. They say, well, you should be happy. You have a great life. But we know on the inside it's more. I knew there was more for me to do. I knew there were times I allowed fear to shut me down. I knew I was not living my worth out loud because a lot of times we do what people tell us we should do and go, but we know there's more, or we know there's something different that we should do. And I tell people all the time, it takes courage to be who you are meant to be and not listen to outside voices. And so, yes, I look good on paper. I had the accolades, I had the business, I had the degrees, but Denise wasn't happy because I
Mm,
knew there was still more for me to do. And the more for me to do is what I'm doing now, is to help to empower other women to own your amazing. I love being a speech language pathologist. It has been a wonderful career for me, but I also know there's more for me to do. I help speech kids, particularly children, to find their voices, to learn to speak and talk. But I also feel like now it's a bigger platform, it's a bigger movement for that for me. And I've known that for years, but I didn't give voice to it until that day. The person said, you need to own your amazing and stop playing small. Got it. Move forward.
that's
Got it.
fantastic.
Got it.
And it wasn't even one of the leaders of the conference.
It was not. That's why I said that's why we had to be open to, I get so many lessons and so many messages from children, from people. So I stay open. I don't care
Yes.
where the message come from, as long as I get it, because I had been searching and I had been longing to figure out why aren't I happy or what's stopping me for doing
Right.
more. And so I'm thankful that I got it through whoever gave it to me. I don't, and it to me,
Right.
if I had gotten it from I don't know, a dog, I'll take it, whatever, because it changed my life. That day changed my life. It changed
Yes.
my life.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay, whoever it comes through, okay, I'll take it.
And that's one of the things my husband and I talk about sometimes is as we were going through recovery processes, it
Yeah.
was who are you not willing to hear Jesus from? Because there were people who didn't quite have their lives together. We sure didn't. And we needed to listen to those voices
Yes.
and hear this is a spiritual based, faith based podcast. Hear, that God coming
Yes.
through them.
Yes.
And however you frame that, universe, God, Louise,
Yes.
whatever you want to call
Yes.
it, there's still that if I'm aware and open,
Hmm.
it's going to be there. And you
Hmm.
you found it after just one evening.
Yeah.
Tell us, Denise, a little bit more about your own voice. How do you
Yes.
help women walk into that?
One of the things I talk about with my workshops, anytime I get to talk about it, it's one of my favorite topics is to hold the power of your voice. And because I am a speech language pathologist, I deal in voices all the time. you know, I've been a
Mm-hmm.
speech pathologist for almost 29 years now. I've heard a lot of voices. So I talk about your physical voice. We all have a physical voice, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, but when I talk about the power of your voice, I'm talking more about your lived experiences, how you show up in the world,
Oh.
your voice, your expression. Who are you? What are you giving
Mm-hmm.
voice to? What are you standing for? And so when I talk about this, I get excited about it because I try to make the reference between your physical voice and your lived experiences and see the parallel for that. So the first point I like to make is that you have a voice. You have a voice. Just like you
Does
have a
that
physical
shock
voice.
people? Does that shock people just to start with? You
Yes.
have a voice.
And so a lot of people like, yeah, I was like, yeah, you just say like, yeah, I got it. But you have a voice. And the reason why I say that, I come from a generation where children were supposed to be seen and not
Mm.
heard.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
internalize that. We think we don't have a voice. We don't think we have a say for our lives, but we do.
Mhm.
And so a lot of women have been silenced and they believe they don't have a voice. So my first step is to help them to recognize you have a voice. Now it's time for you to use it in a powerful way. So yes, I start there. People are like, oh, no, you have a voice because some people have been silenced for whatever reason through,
Right.
being ridiculed, been put down, been told to shut up, been told to be
Mhm.
quiet. And when you
Mhm.
internalize that, you think like, well, I don't really have a say. I don't have a voice, right? A real quick story was when I was deciding where to go to college, my undergraduate year, and there was one particular school everyone assumed that I was going to attend. I didn't
Mhm.
want to go, and I didn't know how to tell people I didn't want to go to that particular school. So applications went out, schools, and then acceptance letters were coming in. And so my father asked me, did I get my acceptance letter to this one particular school? And I was like,
Mhm.
no, I haven't gotten it. Weeks went on. He asked me again, have you gotten this acceptance letter? No, I haven't gotten it. I think he was getting suspicious by the second time. He asked me a couple of weeks later. He said, well, I heard that other people have gotten their acceptance letter to the school. Have you gotten yours?
Hmm.
No, I haven't gotten mine. And so I said, Dad, we need to have a conversation. We need to talk. And I had to finally fess up. And I told him the reason why I haven't gotten an acceptance letter is because I did not apply to that school.
Oh no! What did he say?
He
Ooh.
was livid.
Oh.
He was so upset with me.
Oh.
But I told him, I said, well, Daddy, I said, that's a great school, but that's not the school for me. And I
Mhm.
said, if I have to spend the next 4 years somewhere, then I think I should have a say as to where I want to go. And he said, you're right.
Wow.
Let's talk about it. So that was my first really taste of me using my voice and having a say over my life, over my choices.
Wow.
And so that's when I say a lot of times we think so because prior to that, I was doing what everybody's told, go here, do that. I
Mhm.
didn't hear my own voice. I didn't have a say for my life. And here I was 17 years old. I was like, no, I don't want to go there. That's not a good fit for me. Great school, family members went there, so, but it wasn't for me. And that's a lot of times so I said, it takes courage to stand up for yourself, to stand in your own power. That wasn't a good fit for me. And I did not want to go, and I didn't go.
Well, let me ask you. Yes, it takes courage. Yes, you were 17. I imagine he was paying the bill. How did you ground yourself? Because for a while you're saying, no, no, it hasn't come, it hasn't come, it hasn't
Yeah,
come, which is
yeah.
a little, shady. But for a
Yes, it was.
17-year-old, I understand. How did you ground yourself to finally say, this may not be pretty, but I've got to do it?
I think I just said that in my own way. Like I gotta tell him what happened. I didn't lie to him. I didn't say, just don't know I hadn't gotten it. I wasn't gonna lie, but I just said, no, I have not gotten it. And which I didn't. I said, okay, now I need to tell him why. And so again, we have to be able to stand in our own power. Yes, he was upset, but once I said, because this is my life and I should make a decision about where I should go and where I'm going to spend the next 4 years of my life. And I was like, so not that, so I don't want to go to that particular school, but yes, I want to go to school. So let's talk
Mhm.
about where I think and you think would be a better fit for me. And we did exactly that. And so a lot of times we don't stand up for ourselves. We think that other people, there may be some pushback. But a lot of times we don't give people the credit for, my father he just wanted me to be happy and go where it was going to
Mhm.
make me happy. He didn't know I didn't want to go there because I hadn't told him. You see what I'm saying? I was going along making everybody think that's where I wanted to go. And he didn't know that I didn't want to
Mhm.
go there until that moment. And he was like, "Oh, okay. Like, well, you should have told me." No, so he was and I appreciate my father for that. He wasn't trying to push me there. They just assumed I was going to go there because that was just the conversation over the years, and I never said anything different. So people make assumptions because, again, we don't stand up and say, "Well, no, no, that doesn't work for me. Hello, can we have a conversation about how we're going to do this differently?"
I like how
So we
you
have a
said,
voice.
"I didn't give him the credit." You weren't
Yeah,
willing to do the courage and the vulnerability to
yeah,
see what was really gonna happen. So
yeah.
taking this, you stood up for yourself, you're claiming your identity at 17, which who of us knew who we were a whole lot at 17?
Right,
What did
exactly.
this one win catapult you into?
It catapulted me into standing for myself. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say after that incident, I always stood for myself because I did not. I didn't. There were times in my young adult life, my career, that I didn't stand, but I always came back to once I got myself settled back down, like, wait a minute, this isn't working for me. And I need to say something. I have a voice. And unless I use my voice and say something, to people that I need to speak to, they're not going to know. We people aren't mind
Mm.
readers.
Mhm.
We expect you to read
Mhm.
our minds and thoughts like, how you didn't know I was struggling? No, you didn't tell me you were struggling. So I'm
Yeah.
supposed to know. And so
Yeah.
we make people wrong for things we never speak up about. Because so it's up to us to be responsible for what we say and how we stand for ourselves and not make other people wrong and make assumptions about other people. Again, my father was a great example. He was like, okay, well, let's talk about it. And so maybe had I said in the beginning, like, Daddy, I don't want to go there. Can I, I'm not even going to apply. What if I would have said that from the beginning, instead of waiting until this
Yeah.
moment? So a lot of times um we just not using our voices. And so again, as I have gone into my life, through my life, that experience really gave me the foundation
Mhm.
to whenever I find myself not speaking up for myself or standing my power, like, oh wait, hold it. You have a voice. You have a voice. It's time for you to
Yeah.
use it and speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
And so the second part is that you have a unique voice. Not only you have a voice, you have a unique voice. And I
Mhm.
like to use the analogy of, again, people talk about our individual fingerprints. We all have individual fingerprints, right? No one on this planet has fingerprints like us. Well, as a speech language pathologist, no one has a voice like yours either. I've listened to a myriad of voices over the years, and no two voices are the same. Your
Mm.
voice is
Mhm.
yours, and my voice is mine. And so again, we forget that we have a voice and it is a unique voice. It is a unique lived experience. How I show up in the world is how I show up in the world. And that's important because a lot of times we downplay who we are and what we bring to the table. And then we don't speak up. Be like, oh, nobody wants to hear from me. Yes, they do, because you're a unique voice. You offer a
Yes.
different perspective than anyone else on this planet. And unless you speak up for yourself and share your voice, no one really gets to benefit from you. And so I tell people, don't downplay who you are. Don't downplay like, well, this person is more important than I am, or what their needs are more important than mine. No, they're not.
Mhm.
Your voice is your voice, and how you show up in the planet is exactly what people need. So our uniqueness is beautiful. And a lot of times we try to downplay who we are and try to blend in and assimilate, but it's about standing out and standing up for who you are. So I tell people, I said, now, if you decide to rob a bank, because there are some speech pathologists who are called to court to testify on the validity of somebody's voice, not their face, not their fingerprints. They're called forensic speech pathologists. And
Huh.
so if there's an audio recording, they would call someone in to testify. Is that person's voice? Because you cannot, but a little bit, you can only camouflage your voice but a little bit because it's uniquely yours. And so I tell people,
Wow.
you're going to rob a bank, make sure you wear gloves and don't say anything. Write a note.
And don't say a word, right? Write a
Don't say
note,
a word.
give him a note.
Give a note. Because if you talk and they call me like, "Is that her voice?" Like, "Yeah, that's her. That sounds just like her." Your voice is that distinct and unique, and so is your life,
That's
and so is
amazing.
your life.
When you're thinking about the family dynamic and people choosing not to use their voice, how much is the family missing out on?
Oh my God, I was gonna say so much because, I'm the youngest of 5 children. I grew up with my mom and
Mhm.
dad, brother and 3 sisters, and I am the youngest. So there's a lot of us, right? And so one of the things I commend my parents for is that we had a voice, you know? And even though my siblings who are older than me may have said something, said whatever, say there was a situation, everybody had a chance to speak. Well, I had a chance to speak too,
Mm.
because they wanted to hear what I had to say about it. Other people may have spoken about it, but they were like, "Well, what do you think? Or what do you say?" And so my perspective as being the youngest in the family, the girl, whatever, that was my experience. I wasn't the oldest, I wasn't the middle child, I was the baby. So I have a different experience. I talked to my siblings about we have a different experiences of our parents. We all grew up in the same house with exact two parents, but some of our
Mhm.
experiences with our parents were different because we are different. I was not the
Mhm.
oldest girl, I was the baby girl, right? I
Mhm.
was not the
Mhm.
eldest boy, I was the baby girl. So my perspective of the family is different than my brother's, who is the oldest and only boy with 4 sisters. And so my experience is unique to me. And so again, we can't discount that because I see with a different lens than everyone else. I tell my sister, they was like, "Oh my God, you can't." I said, when I came on the scene, there were 6 people in the house.
Right.
There were 6, I
Already.
had 2 parents. So I had to get to know all of these different dynamics, right? As opposed to my sister, who's the oldest girl, it was just her and my brother for many years. And so she didn't have that perspective. But I came into a house full of people like, who are all these people?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so our perspective is different. And so we need to understand the uniqueness of that and what we can bring to the table to help other people in whatever they're going through as well.
In a family recovery dynamic, what we
Hmm.
know is if the family chooses to work through their issues, the issues they've had around addiction, those types of things, because there's often a lot of co-addicts. If
Yeah.
their voices get heard, it is 100 times more likely for full family recovery and for the person who's been pointed out to recover and stay recovered, because all those voices make up the family, and we know that some of them get silenced in this process, or they've been silent the whole time. So this unique voice, and you being there's 6 people already here. I am unique, I'm different, and I need to observe the richness of those 6 people who are already here, and they need to observe mine. That's why I love this unique, it goes between the lived experience, the physical voice, and the unique part of it. But I know you have more.
One
What's the
more,
next step?
one more. And your voice matters, kind of what we just talked about. You have a voice,
Mhm.
you have a unique voice, and your voice matters. And I think a lot of times we forget that
Mhm.
because we are in environments sometimes where our voices are silent and we're not made to be heard or felt like we can be heard, and we think we don't matter. And so that's the one that really hits me a lot of times, is that to remind people that we really matter. You have to matter to you first before we expect us to matter to other people. And you have to
Oh, wait,
know
wait,
what I
wait. Can you say that one more time really clearly?
yes, I said we have to matter to ourselves first before we expect to matter to other people. And so own your amazing is about you owning your amazing. I can't own it for you, and you can't own it for me. You
Amen.
can't own my voice, and I can't own your voice. It's a
Mhm.
personal thing. And so I have to remind women constantly, your voice matters. You matter. Yes, you may be in a situation with different family dynamics, and that person may be getting all the attention right now, but you matter too. How you're feeling matters. How you're handling everything matters. But a lot of times we just we maybe in the family dynamics, one person is getting all the attention all because they're dealing with whatever, and we think, well, oh, it is, I don't it what I'm going through doesn't matter. Yes, it matters. One of the things I find a lot of times even my speech practice, is that, I work with a lot of young children. And so the parents are bringing their children to me, right? Because they may have autism, they may have Down syndrome, they have some type of speech
Mm.
impediment, they may be, just low functioning, whatever. And so we spend a lot of time talking about that particular child because that is the focus of my therapy. But I always
Mhm.
ask the parents, are there any other children? Who else is in the family?
Mhm. Yes.
Because
Yes.
I understand this is not an isolated person. This is person is a part of a family unit. And
Yeah.
everybody needs matter in this family. Yes, we're focusing on this one particular kid, but they also matter. And so, just recently, I was having a consultation with a family, with a family, and we were trying to schedule therapy. And so the mother was trying to figure out when to bring him. She's like, and I said, what's the hang up? She was like, I got to figure out what to do with my other kid. Who, if this kid is coming to therapy, what am I going to do with this other one? I was like, yeah, let's talk about that because that other kid matters too.
Yes.
This is a
Absolutely.
family unit. This is not an
Yes.
isolated person. This is a unit. And so, yes, that child matters too. And I was like, well, how can I support you in supporting that kid too? So this child, you can get the services. I say, if you need to bring the other child, bring them. So that way we don't have to worry about you figuring out what to do with this one because this child matters too. We don't want to put so much emphasis on here that we forget about this one too. And so she was like, thank you. Because I recognize everybody matters, their
Mhm.
feelings, their needs. We matter. And so again, that is the power of the voice is that you have a voice, you have a unique voice, and your voice matters. It matters to someone how you show up. It matters to someone what you say. Sometimes you could be the very person that is an answered prayer. You are the very, but if you don't show up, you don't speak up, someone is not going to benefit from your brilliance. And so I tell people, you matter. Don't think you don't. Don't downplay your situation, your perspective, because someone needs you to speak up and show up exactly the way you are.
When you're coaching, is there a simple exercise that the Sober on Purpose audience could take away today about showing up for yourself? Because, like you said, if you can't show up for yourself, it's really hard to show up for somebody else.
Oh my God. I talk a lot about self-care. So one of the simple things is when I start with my clients, I just ask them a simple question. Who are you for you? Who are you for you? Not who are you for everyone else, but who are you for you? What do you like to do? One client, I asked my client one day, like, do you like ice cream? They was like, yeah. Like, think about it. Like, well, how do you know you like ice cream? And what flavor do you like? And they was like, we don't take time to think about who we are for ourselves outside of everyone else. So that's the first thing. And so it's the most profound thing. And it's a life-changing question. And I
Mhm.
tell people, start there. A lot of times I say, if you need help answering that question, reach out to me. Because
Mhm.
a lot of
Mhm.
times people get stuck there, like, I don't know who I am anymore. I've gotten lost in other people's lives that I don't even know who I am anymore. So I say, who are you for you? I understand who I am for me. I don't define myself outside of other people. It's like
Mhm.
it's like I don't know who do they think I am or what do they know who am I for me? What makes me happy? What do I need? It's all about just tapping into who you are and really getting really comfortable with who you are, what you like, what you want your life to be, not what people say your life should be. What is it you want? What's going to light you up? What makes you happy? Just answer that question. Who are you for you? That's the first step.
It's an awesome question. How often are you met with a blank stare when you ask that question?
I'll say about 99.99% of the time.
Because you stop people in their tracks. They're like, uh, I haven't thought about that ever.
Mhm.
So who are you for you?
You.
Great journal prompt. Get out your
Yes.
journal, free
Yes.
flow, your
Yes.
audio, whatever your Google Doc, whatever you
Yes.
do, and look through that. And then on your website, you have a daily authenticity checklist. What does that give you? What would they be looking for?
They're going to see how are you showing up? Are you living your authentic life? Are you an imposter? Are you are you wearing a mask? A lot of times we show up as our representative, but not who we truly are. And so those questions in there, that checklist would say, well, who are you? Are you showing up? Is this the work you really want to do? Is
Mhm.
this the life you really want to live? Is this the dream you really want to dream? Ask those questions. A lot of times we're like, well, no, I was talking with someone yesterday, as a matter of fact. She told me, she said, I am living my mother's dream. She went to college on a full athletic scholarship. She got this amazing. She said, I never even thought I was going to go to college. She said, I did it because that's my mother's dream. She said, I bought this big house, a 6-bedroom house, because I knew that was going to make my mom happy.
Mm,
Wow. And now
mm,
fast forward it, she said, I feel stuck in my life, in a life that I never
mhm,
said I really wanted. So we're working on like, so I said, what do you dream about? What is your dream for your life? She said, I don't know. I said, we got to
mm,
work on that.
mhm, mhm.
So yeah, it's a big deal. How are we showing up as who we want to be, who we say we are, not other people. And so many people are living other people's lives and other people's dreams and not our own. But it's time for us to live our own dreams, to say, yeah, this is what I want. Um, I'm telling people that I've been a speech pathologist 29 years now. I'm giving myself 2 or 3 more years and I'm done. And everybody's like, you're gonna walk away from being a speech therapist? Yeah, yeah,
That's not my
yeah.
dream anymore.
Not my dream anymore. And it took me years to really give voice to that. Like, oh my God, I've been doing this for so long. I love what I do. But I feel like there's a different call and a different purpose for my life. And I need to answer that and not continue to do what everyone expected me to do and tell it. So I'm moving on to the next chapter of my life in a few years.
So you just added another one. Who are you for you? And what is your dream? And are you, well, there's three there. Are you living somebody else's dream? I mean, you're just popping them off like
I
that. It's just
know, I know, like, that's
so
good.
when we were talking before, you said you have a retreat coming up that's full. Now the retreat is full, but you will
Yeah.
start putting out information for the next one. Tell us a little bit about the retreats, what people can expect, because you had such an amazing experience. I'm sure you do an amazing retreat.
So that's why I'm so excited about it. It's my first international retreat. We're going to Mexico. Yay. But
Woo.
it's for women, highly successful women who are burned out and
Mm-hmm.
they're tired. Again, they look good on paper, but deep
Mm-hmm.
down inside, they're like, there has to be more. Is there something else for me to do? But I don't know. I'm afraid to do something different. And so I've invited them to come with me on a weekend retreat to say, let's get down to business. Let's figure out
Mm-hmm.
what is it that you really want for your life, this next chapter, whatever you want to call it, your new purpose, whatever it is. Let's get clear on it. And then we're going to create an action plan to get it done. But the main part of that is the self-care piece. When I talk about self-care, a lot of times women, we are the last person on the to-do list. We're the
Mm-hmm.
last person on the
Mm-hmm.
totem pole. We take care of everybody else, and if we got time for ourselves, we'll do something for ourselves. So I invited these ladies, put yourself at the top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else can wait for the weekend, but you're going to take this time just to be with you, to figure out
Mm.
who you are, to get clear, to decompress. Won't be no cell phones, won't be no answering no emails, no family, no kids, no husband, no, just you, just you. So you can get clear about who you are and how do you want to move forward with living your life. So that's going to be in October, and I'm so excited because I'm going to be doing some more in 2024. So I tell people to stay tuned, stay connected, so you guys can know when the next one is going to come out because they get full up. And I don't take a lot of women when I do it because I want the retreat to be intimate, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that they're getting what they need from me, but also from themselves. And I think sometimes we have too many people, we get distracted. And so it is an intimate, small gathering of women who are serious about their transformation.
And this is transformation into who am I for me? What are my dreams? How do I how do I offer my authentic voice? How do I empower myself to do that? So the physical voice with the lived experience, the unique voice, and then the voice that matters.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
And
hey,
so I do
we're
want to
going to
offer,
put, sure.
oh, sorry, go ahead. I just want to offer your audience a free infographic where they can download it's just a visual reminder of the points that I made about you have a voice, you have a unique voice, and your voice matters. They can download that at On Your Amazing Now / Power Voice, and they can get that. And I tell people, I have it in my office. I have
Right.
like it's
Right.
an like I can see like I have a voice, I have a unique voice, my voice matters to remind myself because sometimes we forget, sometimes we listen to outside voices from the world, from media, from people that we forget to hear our own voice. And so it's just a visual reminder for everyone to say again, I have a voice, I have a unique voice, and my voice matters.
And that the visual is awesome. We will put that link down below. And
Awesome.
Dr. Denise, tell us, I know you do a Thursday live. Tell us where all we can find you.
Awesome. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Denise on Your Amazing. I do a thing called Think About It Thursday. I come on every Thursday just for, I call it 3 minutes of inspiration and motivation so that you can think about what you're thinking about and so that you can take some action. I always, try to tell people do one thing, towards the topic. A lot of topics are like self-care, personal power, finding, I think yesterday I talked about finding your joy, all those kind of things. And so again, it's just a little reminder for people to really think about what you're thinking about. We just go through our lives, just going like, what do you think about that? I mean, are you really happy? Are you really joyful? Are you really taking care of yourself? And so I like that. I get a lot of great feedback. I get a lot of comments from people who, show up. They show up live, whatever, listen to the replay every week. And it just I enjoy doing it because a lot of times it's something I've been thinking about for myself, and I want other people to think about. We have to stop and think about what we're thinking about. Our thinking is so important in how we live our lives. And so I do it every Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. People can pop on there on my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram. I post little stuff on there. I'm at Dr. Denise Moore for that. LinkedIn, all that good stuff. But I really just hang out a lot on Facebook. And I have a private Facebook group. They can get into that as well. So just follow me on social media, stay connected. Some a lot of good stuff is coming up. Workshops are coming down the pike, the retreat, all this good stuff. So I'm really excited about the community and what we have in store.
Awesome. And you can pick your book up on
Oh, and my
Amazon.
book, that too.
And we'll post those links below. Be sure and pick up that infographic.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Denise's special gift to the Sober on Purpose audience. We'll hang that out too. And Dr. Denise, I just can't thank you enough for all the energy and the positivity and practicality. You're not just saying, believe it's all going to be okay and it'll all be okay. You're actually saying, no, you are the person who can vocalize what you need, how you need it, and showing up the way that you need to in the world instead of the way somebody else needs to. Your stories are awesome.
Thank you so
So I
much. Thank
really
you for having
appreciate you.
me. And thank you for the work you're doing. I just think it's so amazing. It's so powerful. And I just thank you for what you're doing. I really do.
It's my mission, just like yours is pulling the voice out. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate it, Dr. Denise.